As a teenager, what was the worst thing your parents ever walked in on you doing? Story 1. Oh God, time to tell this story. So basically, my girlfriend at the time and I were home alone and started watching a movie. We got to the part of the movie where both of our shirts are off and her pants are down around her ankles when suddenly we hear a car pull up in the driveway. We were on the couch in my TV room, which is pretty much right off the main entrance. Scramble, shirts get back on just in time, but with my entire family crashing into the room, the pants are still firmly south of the border. Fortunately, we're both still under a blanket with the movie on. Somewhat less fortunately, we're watching some Disney movie, so everyone is sticking around. The lights are off, so it's not super obvious just how guilty we look, and while everyone is distracted, we pretend to be looking at something on my phone while typing out a plan to each other. Plan initiated. I drop my phone, and in the process of retrieving it, grab her pants and bring them up to her knees. She then stretches out, letting me pull pants up to about mid-thigh level. So far, so good. Now for the hard part. We wait about 5 minutes for a big song, so everyone is distracted looking at the screen and singing along. She stands up, and in the same motion, I pull her pants the rest of the way up, and she quickly goes into the bathroom to put everything in order. Nobody seems to notice. Crisis averted. Damn, a close call? This story had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. I guess they wouldn't have pulled this without some Disney magic. Story 2. Had to half schedule my junior year of high school because I was doing an independent study. A ton of seniors did too because they didn't need any more credits. I got a ride with this cute girl named Amanda to go smoke some leaves. It's like 12 p.m., so my parents wouldn't be home for 5 more hours. We thought we'd take some bong hits and go for a quick swim in the pool. Around bong hit 3 or 4, my mom opened the door to the backyard, right where we were sitting, to me blowing out a giant cloud of smoke. She raised an eyebrow and did an about face back into the house without a word. We both crapped ourselves because we didn't know what she was going to do. I ran inside to see how much trouble I was in. She basically just said, "I'm not telling your father. Go finish what you were doing." I'm pretty sure she was just proud that I was with a pretty girl. We stashed the bong and leaves and just went for our swim. Either way, it was much less awkward for the next year about walking my dog for 90 minutes every night because my mom knew I was getting stoned and would help cover for me. Story 3. My mother always had a keen sense of when something was amiss. So when she heard the familiar hum of the Easy Bake Oven coming from the playroom, she knew something was off. As she walked in, she saw me standing over the small oven, a look of intense concentration on my face. At first, she thought I was simply baking some treats for myself, but as she got closer, she realized the truth. There on the trays inside the oven were dozens of ants, their tiny bodies writhing in agony as they were slowly being cooked alive. I had always been fascinated by the ants that lived in the anthill just outside our house. They were so organized, so efficient in their movement, and I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to put them in charge of such a powerful force. So I decided to conduct an experiment using syrup to lure the ants into my playroom and into my homemade oven. I had created an assembly line of bait, bake, and clean. It was like a mini Auschwitz of mine, and I was so focused on my work that I didn't even hear my mother walk in. When she saw what I was doing, she was horrified. She sat me down for a talk about the importance of respecting other living things and about the dangers of becoming a serial killer. I was only 7 years old, but I knew that what I was doing was wrong, and I promised to never do it again. Story 4. I was playing video games and getting my willy blown by my girlfriend at the same time. My dad, forgetting to knock, walked in and saw us. We quickly scrambled, embarrassed, and my dad then goes, "Wow, really? I can't even get his mom to give me a shoulder rub while watching TV." I guess he was proud of me? Oh boy, he was definitely proud of you. Although him walking in unannounced and seeing that must have felt really awkward. Story 5. Apparently my younger sister always loved to get her mom's purse and empty the content and play with whatever was in there. Like every other girl, she absolutely loved mom's lipstick and other makeup that was in her purse. Once, when they had just come back from a family trip, she opens the purse and finds a willy protection. She had no idea what it is. She opens it and thinks it's a balloon, so she starts blowing it. Mom comes to the room, willy protection in her mouth, trying to blow it, and she turns around and asks her mom, why is the balloon so oily? It was obviously lubricated. Her mom snatches the condom off her hands and gets super angry, gives her a timeout, and forbids her from ever touching her purse again. She said it was not until she was in her 20s that she remembered the memory and realized what that balloon was. Story 6. Not me, but my best friend growing up. We found some dirty magazines in a field behind his house that he took home. When he would take a shower, he would cut out images of the girls, stick them to the inside of the shower, and do the unholy deed, then flush the photo down the toilet. Eventually, he had a dirty magazine consisting of all men, with the women all cut off, hidden under his bed. One day, while he was in school, his dad found them, and needless to say, he thought his son was gay for a couple of years, until one day he introduced his new girlfriend to the family. Story 7. Forgetting to knock, my mom walked in one time in the bathroom on the toilet eating a bowl of ravioli. Story 8. I don't know why I did it, but I was 14 and kind of curious. It was late. I didn't think anybody was going to come down my hallway, so I left my door wide open. I knelt down to the ground, stuck my tongue out, placed it on the wall, and proceeded to lick the wall from the bottom to as high as I could go standing up. I looked to my left, and my dad was just standing there with a big smile on his face. He yells out to my mom, "Yo, this weird kid is licking the wall." I still don't understand why I had the urge to do that. That was a weird night. Damn, being a teenager is just letting your intrusive thoughts live your life for you, I guess. Story 9. As a child, I had a peculiar habit that I couldn't quite explain. Whenever I felt a little cold, I would slip my hand into my pants, seeking the warm and cozy comfort that I found there. It was something that I did almost unconsciously, and I never really thought much of it. One morning, however, I woke up to find my parents staring at me with a look of concern on their faces. I was confused and a little bit worried, wondering what could possibly be wrong. And then, as I looked down, I realized with a sinking feeling that my hand was still nestled comfortably in my pants. My parents burst out laughing, tears streaming down their faces as they tried to catch their breath. I, on the other hand, was mortified. I quickly pulled my hand out of my pants and tried to pretend like nothing had happened, but the damage was already done. That night, my mother sat me down for the talk. She explained to me that while there was nothing inherently wrong with the habit, it was not something that was considered appropriate in public. She also suggested that I try to find other ways to keep warm, like wearing layers or using a warm blanket instead of keeping my hand in my pants. Story 10. Today I f***ed up. We were spending Easter weekend at my mom's house. This morning, Good Friday, my girlfriend finished taking a shower. She went into our bedroom. I couldn't resist, and I bent her over and began eating her back from behind. My mom walked in to give us fresh towels and saw me chin deep in my girlfriend's back crack. Mom didn't say a word until dinner time. She called me a filthy animal and said I wasn't allowed to eat using her plates or cutlery. I was the only one at the table eating off of paper plates and using plastic utensils. I even had to drink out of a red Solo cup. When we were done eating, she came over to my seat and had me throw all my stuff in the trash can. Easter is going to be interesting. There's going to be 8 of us. I'll be the only one with paper plates. Story 11. When I was in high school, my friends and I decided to explore an abandoned house that was rumored to be haunted. We arrived at the house around midnight, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. As soon as we entered, we were hit with a musty and damp smell that made our stomachs turn. We decided to split up and explore the house, each taking a different floor. I was on the second floor when I heard a loud noise coming from the room at the end of the hallway. I cautiously approached and slowly opened the door. Inside, I saw something that still gives me nightmares to this day. There, lying on a raggedy old mattress, was a ghostly figure with long hair and a tattered dress. She was staring at me with empty eyes, and I swear she was trying to speak to me. I froze in terror and couldn't move. That's when I heard the sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. It was my parents. They had been worried when I didn't come home and had tracked my phone to the abandoned house. They were furious and scared. They couldn't believe that I had put myself in such a dangerous situation. I was grounded for a month and had to do extra chores for a whole year. My parents also warned my friends' parents about what had happened. It was a scary experience that I'll never forget, and it's a reminder of how foolish and dangerous it can be to go exploring abandoned places. I learned my lesson, and I hope others will too. Story 12. My dad walked in on my high school girlfriend and I wrestling in my bed. He walked in right in the middle of a contrary cowgirl, no blankets, nothing. So he saw everything. We were so embarrassed as he stared at us for a couple of seconds and simply closed the door. From that moment, every time he wanted to tell me dinner was ready, he would just text me. I guess this is another story of a very proud dad. Story 13. Back in high school, my mom walked in on me and my boyfriend watching Netflix in my room. I wasn't wearing anything below the belt, and I had a blanket over myself, and since she had no idea anything was going on under there, she decided to sit with us and have a nice, long talk before she left. I'm guessing that she didn't notice anything suspicious was going on while we were apparently watching Netflix back then. Please leave your story down below in the comments. I would absolutely love to make a video about them in the future. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.